Ladies and gentlemen, where are the leaders? With the exception of the President of the United States, virtually all political leaders around this country sit in abject silence in the midst of armed insurrection, occupation, efforts at separation from the United States, in the face of terrorist groups like the domestic terrorist group Antifa, which comically calls itself the anti-fascist when they're actually fascist. Nothing different than the S.A. brown shirts stomping through the streets of Germany, beating up their political opponents. Where are our leaders? Who will stand? Who will stand for this great country? 244 years after we declared our independence on the 4th of July, 1776. In Congress on the 4th of July, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. I call on patriotic Americans today to answer the call for unity, to bring this great nation, the greatest experiment in the history of mankind in governance, with a fantastic polity representing over 330 million American citizens, to bring it together and not allow it to be divided by the Marxist, the Bolsheviks, the socialist, the progressive leftists, who seek to destroy this country in a false narrative and lie about this country and its history and destroy its history around us. This is what progressives do. Time and again, they seek to destroy, not to unite, not to create. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness are in jeopardy in this great republic, the United States of America. Here in the middle of 2020, after perhaps the greatest political hoax of all time, with the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 being used as a smokescreen to imprison law-abiding citizens around the world, sequester them off instead of taking prudent steps to protect the most vulnerable in our societies, destroying economic activity, forcing people to remain in their homes, denying the right to assembly, and then magically the virus is cured when it suits progressives for their political ends. Where are our leaders as armed insurrectionists destroy metropolitan areas in this country and even now attack small rural towns, terrorize innocent citizens, cajole, propagandize, and threaten the safety of family and loved ones of all ethnicities in this country? Black Lives Matter? Racial injustice? Really? If Black Lives Matter so much, why do 15 Federal Bureau of Investigation agents show up to investigate the hoax of a NASCAR driver? Another Jussie Smollett nonsense. Racial injustice. Who will step up? Who will defend this republic? Who will emerge at state and local level, or amongst our national leadership, someone other than simply the President of the United States? The answer isn't criminal justice reform. The answer is to stop an insurrection. We've dealt with this before. President George Washington went to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, with the Army and the Pennsylvania militia and put down the Whiskey Rebellion against those who rose up in arms against these United States. President Abraham Lincoln raised the Federal Army of Volunteers, 75,000 initially, to march against the states in rebellion in the South to stop an armed insurrection and secession movement from the United States. People who violate the laws, people who desecrate property, people who destroy our history should not be allowed to march freely through our streets and terrorize innocent people while law enforcement sits idly by and does not protect them. Something is very rotten in the state of Denmark. Only Denmark is not in Copenhagen. It's in Washington, D.C. It's in Seattle. It's in Minneapolis. It's in New York City. Something must be done, ladies and gentlemen. Who will rise up? Who will defend this great land? That is the question we must ask ourselves. It is well past time for patriots to put an end to this, to demand that our elected officials do their job to protect the public and protect citizens, and stop lying about what's actually happening in this country. I implore patriotic Americans, as we approach the 244th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence, just a week away on the 4th of July, 2020. Enough of insurrection in the United States. Enough of this utter nonsense. Do your jobs, politicians, or you'll find yourself out of office, if there's even an office left to hold in November.